Shalom, friends of the IDF. Chag Hanukkah Sameach, and welcome to our final briefing of 2025. We appreciate that you're joining us as we hold the duality of this holiday this year, the joy that always comes with Hanukkah and the horror and devastation these last few days have brought Am Yisrael. Here to shed some light is a guest without equal. Dr. Mordechai Kedar is one of the world's foremost experts on Arab society, Islamist ideology, and Middle Eastern geopolitics. He brings an understanding of the Middle East that comes with cultural fluency, historical context, what's very often missing, and the courage to confront very uncomfortable truth, at least for Westerners. A 25-year veteran of the Israeli military intelligence and a senior scholar at the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies, his work has informed and continues to inform decision makers across the globe. And we are honored to bring you his most timely insights today. Welcome, Dr. Mordechai Kedar.
Thank you so much, Lara, for this introduction. I hope it's not raising the expectations of the audience too high. Hanukkah is actually the Chag, the festive of the miracle. The miracle, not only with a pitcher of oil, which lasted for 8 days, although it was meant to last only 1 day, it's actually the uprise against the most powerful superpower of those days, the Greek Empire, which few people in Judea, rose against the hegemony of the Greek Empire and succeeded to prevail against all odds. And this was the big miracle, way much bigger than the picture of oil. Here, we are living a miracle again. First of all, what we saw during the last 2 years, Israel, after a whole day of incompetence, as was shown on October 7th, 2023, Israel got its act together and gave a fight in Gaza, in Lebanon, Pagers, even in Iran. Iran, the superpower of this region, Israel succeeded to crash its air defense, and for 12 long days, Israel did the impossible to crack the Iranians, and the Iranians really have to thank Allah for the fact that Israel did not destroy their oil and gas industry. And actually, they have to thank President Trump for saving them by stopping Israel from continuing the war to the 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 day, which might have brought that regime to its end. So definitely what we saw during the last 2 years could be defined as a miracle. However, if we zoom out what happened during the last years, 2 years, actually the whole existence of the state of Israel is one big miracle. First of all, if you take into account the situation of the Jewish nation before the Zionist movement came to the world, I'm talking about let's say, towards the end of the 19th century, there was no Jewish nation. There was Jewish communities, only communities, scattered all over the globe, afraid of their own existence, persecuted by the Goyim around them, whether it was the East or the West, struggling for survival, physical survival, after being massacred and chased and persecuted for who knows how many years, decades, and centuries, if not millennia as well, let alone the Shoah, let alone the forcing Islam on Jewish communities like in Mashhad and other places. And you couldn't expect anything from these people who all they do is try to survive each and everyone in his hostile environment in Ukraine, in Russia, in many other places as well. They didn't have a common language to correspond with, because some of them were speaking Arabic, some of them Ladino, some of them Yiddish, some of them none of these languages. Mail connections in those days was with ships. How can they arrange anything between those who live in Argentina and those who live in Yemen or those who live in Russia? Coordinating them was totally impossible those days. And the objection, which was there from not only from the goyim around them, but also from within the Jewish communities, which people were against the Zionist movement, those who want to be integrated in all other societies like in Europe. What do you now bring us all these ideas to go to the Ottoman Empire? Because until 1917, the land of Israel was under the Ottoman Empire. Who in the right mind will move to live under the yoke of Muslims, especially the vicious, cruel Ottomans as they were? And of course, those Haredim, ultra-Orthodox, who believed, and some of them believe until this very day, that Jews should remain in exile until the Mashiach comes and redeems us all and will take us all to Eretz Israel miraculously. Okay, so the objection to the Zionist movement was from the liberals and from the ultra-Orthodox as well. Some of them understood the Herzl was not religious, so why going after him? And all these things which were against it, to the degree that the first Zionist conference, which convened in 1897, did not convene in London or Paris or New York or Zurich even. They chose Basel, a very small and marginal town in Switzerland. Why? Why didn't they do it in London or Paris? The Jewish communities did not allow them. The Jewish communities objected the activity of the Zionist movement to a degree that they could not convene in a place which the Jewish communities were strong enough. Only in Basel, a small community in small town, they found a place without significant Jewish objection. So this is why they did it in Basel, the first. Okay, to that degree, they were objected. Look, really, to think about having a nation, having a state, and having a country under the Ottoman Empire was so far from any logic that really too many people objected it from both from inside and outside. So the mere fact that the Zionist movement succeeded at the end of the day to bring a significant number of Jews to Eretz Israel was a miracle. Was a miracle against the Arabs and against the world, which did not support it. And many of them, even America at the beginning did not recognize Israel. They were afraid that there would be a big massacre here. And let alone later, 1948, when Israel declared statehood, and 6 Arab states invaded Israel one day after it was declared a state, from Egypt, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Jordan, and troops which came from Yemen even, and Iraq as well. 6 Arab countries invaded Israel, and Israel succeeded to survive. And the Jewish people succeeded to survive. Look, the Air Force, the Israeli Air Force, for a couple of years in the beginning was speaking in English because the pilots were not Jews even. They were volunteers from America, from Britain. Okay, there was Ezer Weizmann, who was from the RAF, Royal Air Force in Britain. But many of the pilots were volunteers who came because they thought that the Jewish revival is something which should be done. So this is how Israel succeeded to survive. and don't forget, the War of Independence, 1948-49, cost the life of 6,000 people, means 1% of the Jewish people in Eretz Israel. Tremendous price. And Israel succeeded. And then all the wars which were in 56 and 67 and 73, which also started with a big surprise, and Israel was caught again in surprise, or by surprise. And all the wars later, and of course the war which started on October 7th, 2023. The mere existence of the state of Israel is not self-evident. It's a miracle each and every day which we succeed to stand in front of the whole Arab nation, to a degree that some Arab countries made peace with us because they gave up. Isn't this a miracle? That Arabs, whose national discourse is totally against the mere existence of the state of Israel, and Islamic countries like Turkey, of course, they don't love us, but they understood that Israel is here to stay. The Jews returned to their forefathers' land in order to stay there, and they are willing to sacrifice whatever needed. And unfortunately, the price is tremendous. But we survive on our forefathers' land, and so we will. Therefore, even in what we did during the last 2 years is way beyond what people expected and what people were afraid of. To mess with Iran, excuse me, a state of 90 million people, whose the space is bigger than Israel, like 25 times, whose abilities are unlimited, who is connected with Qatar, another terror state. Yes, and Israel did it, only because we did not have any other choice. And just like the existence of the state of Israel, because we Jews have no other choice but to live on our forefathers' land as an independent country, independent nation, independent state. This is what we do here in Israel. Keep Israel for all the Jews in the world, waiting for the Jews to come. And what happened in Australia, I think, is more than a wake-up call for the Jews everywhere to come to Israel as long as they can. And just take an example, the Jews in Iran. In Iran, mainly in Tehran, there are like 8,000 people, 8,000 Jews. And they would come to Israel in no time if they could. But what was the problem? The currency in Iran is so low, is so worthless, that even if they sell their houses in Tehran, they cannot buy even one room anywhere in the world, let alone Israel. So they are actually stuck in Iran. Okay? And I'm using this pulpit of the FIDF to call upon the Jews wherever they are. Please start to consider moving to our forefathers' land, because this is our place. And it actually brings us to anti-Semitism. Or I don't like the word anti-Semitism. I use Jew hatred, because Arabs keep saying, we are Semites, how can we be anti-Semites? So in order to go around this problem, I call it just a spade, to name a spade. It's a Jew hatred. It's not Semite hatred. It's Jew hatred. Jew hatred comes from mainly two sources. One is the religion, and one is the situation. The religion, the Jewish religion, is the mother of both Christianity and Islam. And for Christians and Muslims, in order to prove to themselves and to the others that their religions are valid, they have to denigrate Judaism. They have to cancel Judaism, to replace Judaism. This is why the theology of both religions, Islam and Christianity, is that they exist on the ruins of Judaism, on the fact that Judaism is null and void, and therefore their religions are relevant religions. Jews still stick to irrelevant religion. In Arabic it says din batil, a religion which is batel, which is cancelled. And so is the theory of replacement in Christianity. This is why you see Jew hatred in a Christian Western European environment and in the Arab Islamic Eastern environment. You don't see Jew hatred in India, China, Japan, or Korea. Why? Because religions of these areas have no connection with Judaism. So they don't feel that they need to humiliate Judaism or to be vicious toward Jews in order to prove anything connected to their religions, unlike Muslims and Christians. So this is one source of anti-Semitism or anti-Jewish hatred, the religion, the Jewish religion. The other source of Jew hatred is the mere fact that Jews actually lived within Christians, Westerners, Europeans, and within Arabs, Muslims, Eastern countries, like in Morocco, in Iraq, in Yemen, in Iran. The mere existence of Jews in Europe or in the Arab world actually created a Jew, or made the Jew the other, the ultimate other with a big O, whom we, Europeans and Arabs, should hate because he is responsible for all our shortcomings, for history, plagues, wars, disasters, fires, plagues, whatever. The Jew is responsible. Why? Because he is the other and he is the ultimate scapegoat to our shortcomings. How do I know that this is the reason? There was no Jew hatred in India and in China, Japan, Korea to hate. Jews did not live there traditionally. So Jews were not the other to hate for the shortcoming of those societies. And this actually are the two main reasons for historical hatred against Jews. More recently, all kinds of new reasons came, like communism, because communism actually ruled out all the religions, and Jews stick to the religion. Socialism, the same. Nationalism, definitely we are not part of the German nation, we are not part of the Austrian nation, we are not part of the French nation, we are Jews. So, since nationalism became to be, the name of the social game, like in the 20s and the 30s of the last century, especially in nationalism and Nazism, definitely the Jews are not one of us. They are the other, they are the stranger, and we have to hate them because they are not part of our nation as it is. Recently, or more recently, you talk about the money issues, because Jews are bankers, Jews are moneylenders, and therefore we have to hate them because we hate the system, or we hate the banks, we have the capitalism, and Jews are connected with the governments, and we want to F the system, so the Jews is under the system, and all these things which came later and we see today. And I think that in every generation, the Goyim will find another reason why to hate the Jews. Today is the Palestinian issue, which nobody really knows exactly where is the river and where is the sea, which should be free. I also say that from the river to the sea, Israel should be free from any other occupation. So, which is all actually the same. So, since they are experts in finding reasons why to hate Jews, and they will find any reason possible, and even the impossible, to hate Jews, because we are always the other. And we are always being viewed as the other who tries to infiltrate the societies of every other country. So why the heck should we keep trying to convince them to accept us. Let us leave them with the jihadists and say goodbye. And here I'm at, okay. And I think that if the Britons, for example, the British, will see one day that all the Jews are going on an exodus from Britain, and the Jews will say, okay, we understood. We finally see you prefer the Muslims, better to have them in Britain rather than us. Good luck. Wish you good luck with the Muslims. Thank you so much for hosting us for so many years. We take whatever we can take, and goodbye. We go to our forefathers' land, and we really wish you good luck with the Muslims. Continue with this, to bring more of them. And you have to say to the French the same thing, good luck with the Muslims. And we have to say to every place which we face hatred, good luck to you guys. And we wish you a good life with those whom you prefer. They will be very sorry for the fact that we are leaving.
100%. There's no question, and we're seeing the seeds of it now. And I have so many follow-up questions. You're such a wealth of knowledge, and we're so grateful that you're really able to tie, the historical roots of Hanukkah and the Maccabees to our modern Maccabees and the IDF and what Israel has done and the modern miracles that we're witnessing, with a lot of effort, of course, from the IDF. And I guess I have a couple of follow-up questions. We're so proud of what Israel has done and how Israel has staved off these, forces of darkness, truly. But to your point, right now, it seems that, a couple of years ago, we talked about creeping Sharia. And right now, it seems like racing Sharia. It is just going so fast. It feels like we're watching chas v'shalom, like the caliphate before our eyes, kind of creeping over Europe, and with recent elections in the United States and just the population swell in these Western countries, it's really frightening. And I think that a lot of Jews, when they think about going to Israel, certainly American, very comfortable Jews who are, very established and rooted with space and whatever in the United States, there's a fear to believe your enemies when they say, great, all the Jews could go to Israel. It's a one-bomb state. Can you touch upon your thoughts on this threat of our enemies and also what we're witnessing geopolitically in this racing Sharia that we're seeing around the world, and that is evidenced by Bondi and Brown University and the MIT professor and so forth?
No, it's not only this violent terror. I'm looking at Mamdani. Mamdani is some kind of, you have no idea how much Islamists were encouraged by this election of Mamdani. Because for them, New York is not another town like Dearborn, Michigan, or some townships in Britain. New York is the Big Apple.
The most Jews outside of Israel are here in the tri-state area here in New York.
New York is the epicenter of the Americanism. New York is much more important than Washington, D.C. You know what? How many daily flights there are from everywhere in the world to New York, like to JFK, to Newark, and to LaGuardia, compared to how many flights there are to Washington, D.C. I think that New York is 10 times. And this actually shows you where people go, where people go, what place people think is more important. Okay? Washington, D.C. doesn't have 4 train companies bringing millions of people every day into the city. Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, Long Island Railroad, and Metro North. They go to New York, they don't go to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., you have only Amtrak. Okay? It shows something, how central New York is compared to Washington, D.C. Of course, the decision-making is Washington, D.C., yes. But New York is the beating heart of America, and you know what? No, of the West. Beyond London, beyond Paris, much beyond. And to be the mayor of this city as a Muslim, this is more important than occupy Israel, to occupy the Big Apple. And this is how they see it. This is how they feel that they succeeded, of course, thanks to some Jews who voted for him, and Qatari money, which was given to his mother, not to him. Okay? And definitely everybody knows who is behind it and why and what it means. They see the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States, the CARE organization, and the dozens of organizations which it uses in order to spread Islamism beyond Sharia. And they actually are encouraged, because what you see today in America was in Europe 15 years ago, the rate of Islamism. So if you want to have a good idea what will be in the United States in 15 years, look at Europe today. And this is what they are planning. This is what they want. And usually they achieve it, and they actually use the Western ideas and the Western liberalism, the Western woke culture, the Western fatigue, the Western innocent people who believe them that they only want to come to the States in order to have good life. Yes, many of them want to have good life, but after they have good life, they want to run the good life in the United States of America after they run already much of the politics in France, in Britain, in Germany, in Holland, in Belgium, in Sweden, and they actually have the big leverage over those countries. And this is why those countries recognize all of a sudden the Palestinian state, because this is what the Islamic masses demand. And little by little, they surpass the Jewish influence, which Jews once had in the United States of America, thanks to their numbers, which are increasing dramatically. And the financial power like Qatar and other Arab countries, and the need of Americans, or the greed of Americans and others, to money. And they use, and there is, they say that everyone has his price. And Qatar knows it very well. And they come to the price which will buy everybody. And yes, also people in the American administration were bought by the Qataris. So when you combine the size of the Islamic nation, the misery which they go through, which pushes millions to other countries like Europe and America, and the money which they have with Qatar and other Arab countries, they are more than sure that they will succeed to topple the West, to topple the Jews, and to topple Christianity, and to topple everybody who stands in the way to the global caliphate. And this actually was revealed in the explanatory memorandum, which was found and published by the IPT. And this is, Lara, what I'm saying. We have to wake up.
What gives you optimism? Like what in all of it's so daunting? Is there something within all of it? Because the infiltration into the mind of the West, into the colleges, into the next generation, it is so, how can you reverse that? Seeing how it's just permeated, it's in our media, in the government, in communities, in schools, in elementary schools. It's permeating everywhere. Like what gives you optimism that we can course correct, reverse?
I count on some people's sanity, which will push them to act. First of all, there are European countries which did not fall into this pit. I'm talking about Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovak Republic. These countries do not accept those migrants, and they do not accept the Sharia, and don't accept all the things. I think that at the end of the day, and we saw it in Britain, the backlash of the demonstrations against the Islamic invasion to Britain, people started to talk about this, people started to act against it, and let's hope that it will also come to politics. America still can be saved if America will be woken up to see the reality. I think that the election which brought Mamdani to New York actually was a wake-up call. And normal people who understand the problem and who want to resist the problem still can do it in America, Canada as well. These countries have not yet surrendered totally to the Sharia and to those who want to spread it. And therefore, here in this session, which we are talking now, is part of the struggle against the invasion of the Sharia into Western societies. The antibodies which are existing in Western societies still can do something in order to save the West and save the Westernism, save the liberalism, and save the culture which we so much see valuable in order to justify our struggle against the creeping Sharia law into these societies. And this is my hope, because after all, these societies do have some sanity which remained in enough places to fight against the woke culture which tries to push us over the abyss.
Thank you so much. Final question for you, which is a two-parter. The first one is, what advice do you have for our viewers? There's no shortage of information if people are willing to see it. Have you found that there's a nugget that people can share with their spheres of influence that can make a difference? And then part two is looking ahead into the future as a final thought. What do you see Israel's role being in this changing world, as a Shamash candle or any other?
Israel is the canary in the mine. Because if Israel falls as they plan, the wave of jihadism will come to Europe in no time, and the Atlantic Ocean is not wide enough to keep America safe from the same wave. And I think that people today understand it, or started to understand it. Especially, who understand it? The evangelical Christians. They understand exactly what happens here. And this is my hope. And this is where we should continue working. The people who care for the world and want the world to continue to be a normal world, not under the Sharia law. And this is what pushes me, and this is what should push everybody who believes in Westernism and modernism and liberalism and normalism.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Kedar. We always treasure your insights. You are just a wealth of knowledge, and we're so grateful for your time. Thank you for being with us. For everyone at home, happy Hanukkah. It has been amazing to celebrate with you. We wish you and yours a very happy and healthy holiday, filled with so much light that lasts the entire year round for you, for Am Yisrael, for our Chayalim. Everyone should be happy, healthy, safe, guided, protected, blessed, and we should only know continued miracles in 2026. Thank you for being with us. Please, if you have been moved today, please continue to partner with us at FIDF.org. Thank you so much, and happy holidays.